Where's my bell? We're live. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is Niki with Homeschool Knockouts. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. You've made it to the end of the week. We're going to have a fun time today. So come on in. Come on in. If you're new, when you come on in, we like to we would like for you to let us know where you're coming from, what part of the universe. So it helps to build your tribe, so you can call upon a fellow homeschooler who might be in your state, your city, your part of the world, for support. And I'm jumping right into it today, guys. No intro. Also, when you come in, you don't have to do this immediately, but we like to start off with our wins. However big, however small, a win is a win is a win. So come on in. We are talking about curriculum flip-throughs. Now listen, I just pulled this topic out of my butt because I packed up all of my curriculum for my future grandbabies, and I did not have the heart or the intestinal fortitude to pull everything out. So I grabbed some of the stragglers because I need another storage box for my curriculum. That's how much stuff I have. So come on in, y'all. Come on in. Let me see. Let me move over to the comments section. Hey, Love for All and Cookie. Hey, Cookie is new here. Hello, Cookie. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Dollhouse Academy, hello to you, my love. Okay, Cookie is from Wisconsin. Wait, did I say that right? Wisconsin. But Wisconsin. The cheesehead state. You want to get some real cheese, you want to go to Wisconsin. Or if you're into football, obviously you got the Packers. So welcome from Wisconsin. Hey, Malibu, always a familiar face in this place. Love for all. Yes, North Carolina. Do y'all have a storm coming through? I was watching something on YouTube. Hey, K-Star, we are live on YouTube. So head on over. The link is in the bio. I'm waving back at you. Come on over. We're going to talk about curriculum flip-throughs. Katash from Ohio. Love for all says, I'm ready to homeschool my new grandson. You have a grandson already? Oh, my goodness. Hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise, I'll have grandbabies, like not anytime soon because my oldest is 16, but I still hold on. My husband's like, why are you holding on to stuff from first grade and second grade? I can't because there might not be any books left by the time these kids are born, or it just might be some stuff that you don't want. Y'all listen. Oh, we're going to jump right into it. Anya, my fellow SoCal girl. Now listen, I kind of feel some kind of way about calling myself a SoCal girl. And it's only until this year, in March of this year, 2023, that it dawned on me. I have lived in California longer than I have lived in Texas, my home state. I have lived in California for 20 years, starting from March of this year. 20 years in California. So I'm always going to be a Texas girl, but it's kind of like imposter, like you kind of don't fit in, and this group don't want you, so you're kind of like in the middle, like the tragic mulatto. All right, who else? Love for all says, yes, he was black. Oh, you got a newbie goober. Oh my goodness. Well, blessings to you and your son, your grandson, I think you said. Yes, your grandson. And to the parents, I don't know if that was your daughter or your son that has the baby, but congratulations on that. Guys, that's a win. Because even though your child had the baby, by default, you had the baby too, because your genes had to come through to get into them, to get into that baby. So by extension, take a bow for your contribution to that baby being born. Oh, your daughter. Okay. Oh, even more so. Yeah. Listen, when she has birthdays and Mother Days, like my kids, when they have a birthday, I'm sitting, look, this is the birthday cake. They about to blow out the birthday cake. Like, I am. I was there. I was there at the birth. So I'm gonna take my flowers any way I can. Sunflower Sundays. Hey, love, we are live on YouTube. The link is in the bio. It is Homeschool Knockouts. We are talking about curriculum flip throughs. I don't know how I'm going to spin it, but I always figure something out. So come on over. I will see you guys there. Peace. All right. So get rid of IG. Well, not get rid of them. Let's just move it. All right. So curriculum flip throughs. And also, guys, feel free to let us know if you have any wins. Love for All says it seriously felt like I was having the baby. And wait, and you said this is your first? I don't know. No, you didn't say if this is your first grandbaby. So let us know there, because I can only imagine what that's like. But just think, girl, you ain't got to do all that extra work. You ain't got to do no breastfeeding, no changing diapers. Well, I don't know. You might have a daughter that's needy and she's like, mama, please. My mom left me on my own. I was like in the wild jungles of Vietnam. I had to figure it all out. All right. So what are we talking about today? Okay. Now listen, I'm going to try to never mind. I won't even bring that up. Curriculum flip throughs. Now, if you are new to homeschooling, you may not know. And the reason why I'm talking about this, guys, because I do have new people that are coming in, not just that are new to my channel or me, but they are new to homeschooling. So I really want to take the time to explain terms that I'm using and not just assume that everybody knows what I'm talking about. My hair is looking a hot mess. All right. So flip throughs. So flip through, just to give you some shop talk, is what it sounds like. Okay. All it is, you take whatever learning or teaching resource that you have in your hot little hands and you flip through it. Now, if you're on YouTube, you've probably seen a lot of curriculum flip through videos. Okay. Some of them just get straight to the point. They show you, the cover, maybe the table of contents, and they just kind of just flip through just randomly. That ain't how we do things. We don't do stuff like that. We have intention when we pick up a book and we're devoting time to curriculum. Now, why am I sounding bougie about curriculum flip throughs? That's because this Garnier thing is not working for my hair. I try to flat iron my hair. We don't just willy-nilly jump into this. Why? Because the curriculum is what's going to cost you money, time, and frustration. So you want to have intention when you wait. Am I teaching y'all how to do a flip through, or are we going to do some flip throughs? Y'all let me know. I mean, I got so much curriculum. So if I know in the poll on my community tab, I said you guys can choose if you want me to do a writing curriculum flip through or a math curriculum flip through. If you guys want to do that, it's your first grandbaby. Oh, that's so sweet. I have 4 girls and I breastfed all of them. Ooh, you're gonna have a whole bunch of grandbabies. But you are truly blessed. You're definitely blessed, love for all. But for a curriculum review, you are going to, so if you guys want me to show you how to do a flip through, I can, which won't take very long. Or if you want me to grab some of these random curriculum books that I just grabbed, because I was running late to start this thing live. I was just running through stuff. I grabbed some Michael Clay Thompson because I remember last week a lot of you guys were interested in that. And then I looked at some past polls and you guys wanted me to do a curriculum review on Michael Clay Thompson, which means I need to grab, because we've done it all. So it's all packed away, which means I need to grab the Caesar's English, the Building Poems, Grammar Town, Grammar Island, whatever comes after that. Word within a word, all that stuff. And then I grabbed just this was 4A. I thought I grabbed 2A. And then I grabbed some math curriculum. And then I grabbed this, which I do like. And I know 1 or 2 of you guys really wanted to know more about Right Source, which I actually really do like. All right. So if you want to do a writing curriculum, put a 1 in the chat for writing. If you want me to do math, put a 2. No, I'm going to forget what those mean. If you want me to do a writing curriculum, put writing. If you want me to do math, put math. If you just want to learn how to do a flip through, and then we can chit chat, put flip through. So your options are writing, math, chit chat. Is that what I said? Chit chat. Okay. So put that in the chat. And by the way, as you guys are coming in, please put a like on the channel. Show me some love. Show me that you guys are getting some value from this and that it means something to you, because that helps me in these YouTube streets and it helps to grow the channel so we can reach more people. All right. So I see, look at, y'all, look at Love for All. She's so greedy. She says 1 and 2. She wants math and writing, which I can do because I have my diehards. We had a 3-hour live. No, it was 2 hours and 59 minutes and some seconds, but it was a 3-hour live, and I had a lot of diehards toward the end. Okay. Hey, Shardy, or Sade, excuse me, Miss Sade Henry, or Sade Henry. She wants to chit chat. In Christ one. I'm seeing some new names, unless you guys change your names, your usernames, but I'm seeing some new names. So welcome. No, girl, Love for All. No, be greedy. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're always supposed to ask for what you want. So don't shy away from asking for what you want. I'm gonna give you both. All right. So let's anchor this like this. Let's set it up. I'll briefly talk about a flip through, how to do a proper flip through in the eyes of Niki, and then we can do a writing flip through, and then the math. And then when I have some more time and I'm really organized in my project, I'm seeing some daylight at the end. Oh my gosh, I have something really nice for you guys. I'm seeing some light at the end of the tunnel with my project, and I'm feeling better about myself, which is why I flat ironed my hair and put on some lipstick and some makeup and put on a decent blouse, because I made a lot of headway this week, a lot of all-nighters, and that's why I had some makeup on, because my eyes are red and baggy. So, and I've been on my apple cider vinegar with honey, lemon juice. What did I put in this one? I don't know. Anyway, it's working because my stomach's getting flatter day by day. And I've been on apple cider vinegar. I make my own apple cider vinegar from scratch. It's very easy. If you want to know how I do that, I have another channel called The Messy Homesteader. It is in the description box below. Go over there, subscribe if you want to. And I have a wonderful recipe for how to make your own apple cider vinegar. And I've been on that thing for years. All right. So, hey, we got Anya from Cali. The middle school live was so helpful. I need all the tips. My 10-year-old will be 5th grade in the fall. So you know what? This summer, let me tell y'all, this summer is going to be bananas. I mean, we're going to be having so many powwows, like 2 hours, 3 hours. We are really going to like get on it this summer, you know, especially for those who have children that are transitioning to different schools, whether it's middle school, high school, or just starting elementary. So we're going to have fun this summer. Sade says, I'll love whatever we end up doing. Oh, see, that's the spirit. All right. And Mari, hey, Mari, she says, I love your chit chats. Okay, so let's start with the flip throughs. All right. Just grab a random book. Okay, so now listen, we are in, oh my goodness, our next live should be on homeschool conventions. Yeah, I know I have a free, where is it? Hold on. I have a free little ebook on homeschools, mastering the homeschool convention. Now I pulled out all my samples so I can show you guys, but it's buried over there. You might have to go to some of my older videos, or if you go to my homepage and just type in conventions, I have a video on mastering the homeschool convention, and I made like a 6 or 7 page document, or like a little ebook telling you how to navigate the homeschool convention. And I was at one of our conventions here in the Inland Empire in California, and I show you just footage of that and everything like that. Okay, flip throughs. Now, is this how you do a flip through? I don't know. I don't really care. This is how I do a flip through. Okay, so with that said, let me take this crawl off the wrong one. Hold on, y'all. I want to take the little crawl that says what the topic is. So hide. Okay, here we go. All right. So first things first, flip through. You already know what it is. It's just flipping through the book, the magazine, whatever you have in your hot little hands. You're just flipping through. But before you do that, this is how you know you got curriculum that's worth your time, okay? Especially if you are a new homeschooler, or if you are a very busy homeschooler, or you are a disinterested homeschooler, meaning you're trying to do the bare minimum. Basically, you're a lazy homeschooler, okay? Now, truth be told, I've been a lazy homeschooler for quite a while because I've been working from home, and my kids are in all kinds of things, so I kind of been on the bare minimum, even though my kids are a little bit more independent than younger kids. But when you're looking for the curriculum, let me show you. Oh, I should have brought the right. Oh, I do have writing in rhetoric. Let me show you what to look for. Okay, now obviously you're going to look at the table of contents. Now, what can you deduce from the table of contents? Okay. Now, this is going to tell you, and listen, it doesn't matter if you are a classical homeschooler, if you are eclectic, if you are unschooler, if you are a Charlotte Mason homeschooler. Curriculum is curriculum in terms of what the publisher is trying to get across on the page. Now, look at this. Oh, this is the practice book. Let me find like a textbook. Because usually like a little practice books are just like, you're just doing the work after you've learned from the book. So practice. I grabbed all the, what? Y'all, all of these books are practice books. All right. Do I have something else? Okay. Practice books won't tell you anything. All right. Let's do Grammar Town. All right. This is not the practice book. All right. So, all right. Here's the cover. Nice cover. Now, crack that bad boy open and look at the table of contents. Now, one or two things are going to take place. This publisher either wants to wow you with all, this is the whining, and this, the flip through is the dating part, right? Now, you got a date, got a nice flashy car, got money in his pocket, he look all nice, smell even better. He's all glossy, he come from a good family, like a good publishing company, a well-known curriculum. So he's all that, or she's all that, right? And then he wants to take you out. Get to a nice fancy restaurant. Of course, you look good. And you start having a conversation with this slick, meets all the check marks, all the check boxes, and you start having a conversation. And that's all you got. Ain't much to talk about. You're like, huh? After 6 minutes into the date, you 6 minutes into the conversation and it's over, right? You don't really have that much in common. Or he's self-centered, or he's boring, talks about himself, whatever. Or it's you. That's how you got to look at your curriculum, okay? Like it's a date, right? Now, when you're going on this date with this flip through, this curriculum, you want to have fun. You want to get to really know this person. Now, can I learn a lot about this curriculum by looking at this? Okay, I'm talking about parts. First of all, it's very to the point. This date is straight into the point. He don't play around. He don't talk all flowery and, whisper words of love and stuff. He's just straight to the point. He's a sharpshooter. This is to the point. So in this book, you're talking about parts of speech, parts of the sentence, phrases and clauses, and then finally analysis. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 things. So you can surmise from this that after you finish using this book, you're going to be smarter and knowledgeable about these 5 things. Okay? So at a glance, you can be like, okay, so for grammar, depending on how long this takes, my kids they should be proficient in this so we can move on. Now, if you don't know anything about grammar, like you don't know anything about your date, maybe you just met him, okay? Versus you went to school with him, middle school, high school, college, so you got some background on him. You just never went out on a date. But if he's stone cold from Georgia and you're from Texas and y'all both live in New York, you don't know anything about him. So this, it might seem good. Okay, I can handle this. There's only 5 things. Open it up. Now, what I want you to do for each chapter or topic or unit, go to the front page and look at it. So 9, because what you have to watch out with publishers, they're either going to try to wow you, confuse you, or lie to you. That's right, I said it. They will try to lie to you and make you think, oh, girl, look, you can teach this. We're not going to overwhelm you. This is all you got to do. And you might think, oh, that's good. That's fine. I can handle this. Or you might be like, it's kind of bare bones. I don't know if this is going to be enough. You won't know until you turn to the first page of the first unit, okay? Look at the first page of the first chapter. Look at that. Get the lay of the land, okay? So here we know we're going to have nice pictures and not a lot of text. It's all what we call churning or chunking, where you have, is how the layout of the text is in the book, okay? This is how you know if the curriculum, okay, perfect example. Hold on, and I got the books. This is the perfect example. You would get it when I find the book. Hold on, because I have the book here. I have the book here. Now, this guy, and I like the guy, he, hold on. He wrote this book. Hold on. And this is back in the 90s. Hold on, I gotta get to it. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna keep talking. And the book, hold on, because I pulled it out. I looked at it the other day. Hold on. Okay, so he had this book, and he does lots of videos, and he refers to the book. Now, from all the videos, you would think this book is like 200 pages, right? And let me just find. I usually find this is the case with self-publishers. Oh, come on, Nick. Hold on, I literally have hundreds of books right here. Oh, here it is. All right. Now, I love this book. It is useful, but Dan Calloway, y'all, for those of you who know. But when I looked at it, I was like, dude, this font is like triple what a typical font is for a book. And the spacings, the margins, everything are so wide. And when that happens, that's when someone doesn't have a lot to say and they're trying to make it seem like there's more to it than what it is. And that's what you have to look out for with curriculum. So when you see something that has like a half page, table of contents is half a page, they either are very, very proficient and expert at presenting the information, or they don't have enough information. All right. And if you're at a convention, the sales representative will make it seem like, oh, no, it gets right to the point. It's no prep, low. That's the key word, low prep, no prep. When you see a sparse table of contents, now this is not the case with Michael Clay Thompson, because his stuff rips up, but this is the date that can back up what he does, what he has, versus the imposter who he's got the fancy car, he's got the nice clothes, but he lives with his mama and he don't own an iron or have car insurance, right? So we want to avoid that. So after you go to the first chapter, look at the layout, okay? Now, go to the last chapter or the middle chapter. This only has 5 parts. So let me find something in the middle. So you're going to look at the first chapter, the halfway point chapter, and then the last chapter. The halfway point, page 84, okay? What are we looking for, Nick? Consistency, okay? Because one complaint I have seen, oh, that's what my son had, really neat handwriting. I don't know what son this was. What they will do, 80, what did I say, 84? 84, all right. Was it 84? Let me look again. What page is that on? Yep, 84. Okay. This is the middle of the book, okay? So what you want to see is a natural progression from the beginning of the book is a nice, gentle introduction, right? Even if this is like the 4th book in a series of 7, though you'll have some review, but they'll have some kind of introduction, right? And then in the middle of the book, you'll start to see more being asked of the student, okay? So you might see more text, less pictures, or more pictures with more challenging questions, asking about that, okay? You'll start to see variations like they're asking more, they're asking more. You're trying to see if what this says in the table of contents is what's inside the book, and let me tell you, they don't always align. Now we're going to go to the end, the last chapter, okay? 4 level analysis, page 110. Let's go. Okay. And now we're here. What I tell you? You don't see near one picture. You don't see any talk about art or, flowery poems or anything like that. It's to the point. This is the application part of a book, okay? If you don't take away anything, just know when you're going through a flip through, there are 3 parts. It's how do they onboard your student? Is it easy for them to kind of get into the material, okay? Because if your kid just doesn't like it and it's hard or it's not easy to understand from the beginning, then you're going to have problems throughout that text. Now, once your kid is onboarded or they've introduced, they've slid in to the curriculum and it's not overwhelming. By the middle of the curriculum, that's when if there are potholes and things like that, that's when they'll start to show up, okay? And that's when you'll have to decide if your child has an issue with this. Is it my child or is it the curriculum? So that's why you want to look at the middle and see, okay, is it ramping up? Is it going from 1 to 500 just in one half of the book? Now you can see, oh, the pacing is too fast or it's too slow. This summer, I'll have a whole series on how to gauge pacing of a curriculum, especially if they don't provide you like a working teaching schedule, meaning here's a sample schedule of how you can teach this. Or if it's a really great curriculum, they'll give you a pacing guide saying, typically, for instance, this is a good curriculum. All right, let's go to writing really quickly. This one gives you a pacing guide. Hold on, let me find it because I was not prepared. Pacing. Oh, no, it's in the teacher manual. This is for the kid. Let me see if I have the teacher manual. This is important. I got to get the pacing manual. Can you guys give me like 2 ticks? I want to get the teacher manual because it has the pacing guide in it. What is a pacing guide? It's pacing. It means how fast or how slow you can move within that curriculum. Say you want to finish before Christmas, or you want to finish before the end of the school year, or you have another curriculum or movie or something that you want to get to, and you need to know how long this is going to last. Even if you don't need to know how long it is, the pacing, when you look at the pacing, you can see, oh, they kind of move really quickly. You mean they only spend 2 days on fractions, adding fractions, or they spend 2 weeks on adding fractions? That's a really good curriculum because it takes time to do that. But a really good curriculum will include a pacing guide. Okay, give me 1 second. And by 1 second, I mean 30 seconds. Let me get the teacher manual. It might be over here under my blankets, okay? And I'm going to show that to you, and then we'll do a quick flip through. All right, so I'm over here in the messy part of this room. And pace, what am I looking for? Teacher guide. Okay, teacher. Oh, I found the mastering. Is that the curriculum? The convention? All right. Hold on, y'all. I think I found the mastering the. Yeah, right here. I'll show you this in just a minute. Let me go get the pacing guide. Y'all know how I do. Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh, so annoying. Y'all y'all know I have to really love you guys because I try to do the tablecloth pull from the table. I try to pull this book out from my big tower of books, and I failed. And I got books all over my floor in my room. All right. This is the teacher manual for Right Source for 8th grade. Y'all know I love writing and rhetoric, but this is a close second. I love this. Now, let me show you why. Just because the person, y'all know I have a master's in curriculum design and course development. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh my God, this is so up my alley. So let me show you where the pacing guide is. And if y'all have any questions, post them so I can address them. All right, pacing guide. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Pacing. Okay, teacher resources, pacing. Okay, and why you want a pacing guide is so you can determine how much work. Okay, we're getting closer. Okay, this is not. Okay, so it must be, okay, 6th grade. They have a different kind of pacing guide, but these are all still the same. So that's the, okay. So, all right. Now, this is a very truncated, very simple pacing guide, but they have another one that's more detailed. It's just in another chapter. But this is your pacing guide. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's a loose pacing guide. By the way, Beast Academy has this Singapore Math or Primary Mathematics. They have a pacing guide. And so what you want, look, you have first quarter, second, third, and fourth. So you have the whole year laid out for you. Now you're going to see how much do they teach in 1 week. So you can get a baseline for how fast or how slow you want to go with your child, okay? And you can see, hey, you know what? Maybe you take breaks throughout the school year. Let's do these 4 weeks. And right here, before we do week 5, we can take a break here. Or we can bring in something else. Okay, so the pacing, it's your treasure map to the treasure. It's telling you, hey, if you want to get through this whole book in a year or in a semester, this is what we recommend. But remember, like I say, you chop it up and make it work for you. You might say, hey, you know what? It says to get through this in 1 week. We're going to do this in 3 days, or we're going to do this in a week and a half. So now you can play around, or you can look at it and be like, you know what? We're just going to skip this part because I feel you're real strong on this. And you start going through and crossing things out or adding some things in. And then you can kind of get more of an idea of how long are you going to be committed with this, okay? That's not all curriculum. Now, what if they don't have that? And most of them don't, okay? Love for All says, seems like public school curriculums only have pacing guides. It's not, actually, it's a requirement, especially, well, I'm in California. And when teachers, they have their teacher professional meetings, especially during the summertime, or they have their continuing education credits or things like that. And especially with the addition of Common Core in 2011, it's really a requirement. Why? Because your school district wants to see what you're teaching for that year. So by default, you have to show them what you're doing each week. I'm not kidding. That's why a lot of teachers are so stressed out. They want to leave the profession. Now, this is what I know for my state and for the school districts around me. Does it mean the teacher always follows that? No. But I know in our district, and it's a very competitive academic district, during the summer, you have to submit your lesson plans and what you're doing for the year, or at least for that semester. So you have to know how long you're spending on reading comprehension skills. You have to know how long you're spending on cursive if you're teaching cursive. I mean, you have to. The school wants to know how long are you spending on division, and so that's why you get kids that get left behind, because the teacher knows from her experience, it takes a good 6 weeks for kids to master division, let's just say. The district says I have to get it done in 3 weeks so we can get to the next topic, so we can get all of these things done by the end of the year. Okay. So for the public schools, that pacing guide is basically like a track meet, is pass the baton, pass the baton. Did you drop the baton? Yeah. And that dropping the baton is your kid not getting that concept, and now they have to move on. So the pacing guide can be your enemy. Now, if you have a child who is in school, it could be your best friend. Let me tell you how. The first thing you want to do, because I did this, maybe you want to homeschool, but you can't do it right now. But you want to get your ducks in a row. You want to be prepared, okay? And in the meantime, you got to get your kid through public school. So if you have the inclination, you can request whatever textbook. Say you want their math book and their English book or writing book, whatever. They don't bring books home. Most kids don't bring books home. Now, my son, they do issue them books. They don't use them. My son has had a chemistry book on the bookshelf, never cracked it open because everything's on Chrome. Everything is digital. But they have to have a book. By law, they have to have a textbook. Now, your teacher can say, oh, well, we don't really have a textbook. Oh, I can't give that to you. BS. Go over her head. Go to the principal. Now, the principal says, I can't give you the textbook. That's BS, because if a child, you can request a textbook for your child. Okay, so don't ever. So if anyone, the secretary, the school secretary, the principal, vice principal, whatever says we can't give you, that's not true. You already know how they playing. Okay, so you can always get the textbook. Now, if you're just hitting like brick walls, you ain't got time to go up there or call, depending on your state, you can go to in our state, it's the California Department of Education, the CDE. You know, it might be something different for you. It might be the Georgia State Department of Education, something like that. Just put that in and see what comes up. By law, they have to list, if your child goes to a public school, private is different. If they go to a public school, by law, I don't care what state you're in, they have to list all the textbooks that are required for each grade level. And they have to show what is being taught each semester. So for example, when my child was in 8th grade, he was taking a college class in history. I had to look up what the standard was for history, so he would get credit for it for college and for high school. And for high school, I think, was it 9th grade or 10th grade? I don't even remember. But it covered like, in California, history has to cover at least 200 years. And it had to start, I think it was world history, and it had to start from at least the 1500s, no later than the 1500s, and then they had to cover a span of 200 years. And then they gave recommendations of starting points in history, 1500s or the 1450s, 1500s, the 1600s, and then what you had to cover in that 200 span. And then they had the textbooks that are acceptable for that state. So if you don't want to deal with them and you have a little bit more time, because sometimes those government sites are so unorganized and looks like something from the AOL days of MySpace. They never update it, and they do that on purpose, so it's harder for you to find the information, but it's there. So if you don't want to deal with the school, you go straight to the Department of Education for your state and then pull that up. Where are we going with that? So all that to say, if you have a child that's in public school, you want to get the teacher's edition. Okay. Now find out what the book is and then go buy the teacher edition. One reason why I have a lot of books is because every year that my child was in a public school, I had all the teacher edition books because I want to know what they were teaching. I just needed to know. Even now, my son who's in public school, I have all the books that they use. All of them, teacher manual, all of it. So it's a little pricey. You might have to get on eBay or some other things, but you can get your hand on those copies. So for flip through, the main thing to look for is if they have a pacing guide, that's half the battle. Okay, because it's like looking under the hood or pulling up the skirt. Like, ooh, girl, you like lace? You know, you can see what's there. Now so that's a good curriculum. Now there is curriculum out there that doesn't have that, but they're very solid. And so what you're looking for is how it revs up. The one thing one of my gripes, and I want to put her on the spot, but Susan Wise Bauer, who wrote the Well-Trained Mind book, and then she published her own writing books to teach writing. With her first series, I think it's First Language Lessons, FLL, and then after that it's like something Wise, I can't remember. But if you guys have used the curriculum, you know what I'm talking about. So the second level, so many parents complain that if you finish the first level of books, it should prepare you for the second level of books. And it seemed like there were like 5 books in between that the kids needed before they got to the second level. So it ramped up way too fast. And it was like going from, as a number of parents said on the forum, it was like going from 5th grade to 9th grade. And that's what you have to watch out for. That's why I say, if you can find a pacing guide, if it's not in the book, I would go Google. It's always some mom, it's always a mom who will do a pacing guide and she'll put it online somewhere. So if you don't see it and you really want that curriculum, just Google curriculum pacing guide and see what comes up, okay, before you make that investment in time and money. So when you're watching these videos on YouTube and the person is just flipping through, and they're never going to do it live. I've never seen a YouTuber that does a live flip through. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've watched a lot and I've not seen that. It's not enough to just look through and just see what it looks like, okay? Is it too many words or not enough pictures? Does it use, is the font? I mean, all kinds of things that can come into play. For example, let's go back to Right Source. Now, this is the student text, okay? This is what, 6th grade? 6th grade. Now, if you were to look at this table of contents, you might crack it open and be like, what? Compared. Now, I know I'm comparing different grade levels, but writing and rhetoric is consistent across all other books. So imagine looking at this table of contents. Now, I know this is what grade is this? This is grades 3 and 4. But believe me, the older grades, not that much different in terms of how they do the table of contents. You go looking at writing curriculum and you crack open this puppy and you see this table of contents. And then you turn the page. Turn the page. And look, this says quick guide. And look at all that, the quick guide. And then it goes into the real table of contents. Because it's so much that they had to give you a quick guide, like you're putting together something from IKEA. Now, all of this can intimidate you, or it can make you think, oh my God, if there's more, it must be good, right? I'm still turning the pages. Don't be afraid of this, guys. Don't be afraid. Because if you look, I'm still turning the pages. A lot of these concepts last for just one page. They are very detailed. Now, this kind of curriculum, I'm still turning the pages. You might look at this and be like, oh my God, this is like a college book. I think I have one more page to turn. Okay. But let me tell you, when I used this, it was so easy. They just give you so much information. Okay, here's a little trick. When you have a dense book like this, you think everything applies to you. No, get out your ego. It doesn't all apply to you. When you're seeing something, and this is heavy. This is heavy. When you're seeing something like this that's really heavy, They are trying to teach, trying to tell you, we got you covered, girl. You can teach a slow learner, an average learner, or an accelerated learner, or a learner with special needs. We got all kinds of scaffolding for you. So when you see something that's heavy or that has very intense table of contents, chances are they are showing you different options for different levels of students' abilities, which is a very good thing. So all of this is not really going to pertain to you. It's not. So don't be intimidated by that. Okay. That's just something to keep in mind. So keep looking, look under the hood, and then open the book and see where it will say, oh, this is how. Oh, lots of graphics and stuff like that. But when you start looking at it, you're like, oh, it's not that intimidating. It's actually pretty helpful. What it does is providing you with examples that you don't have to go and find and make copies or go Google or something like that. It's giving you everything. Okay? Everything. Everything. Okay? So, so when someone's doing a flip through, if you just want to see what the curriculum looks like for that only purpose, that's fine. If you just want to see what it looks like, what the layout, hold on, let me make sure there's no last names in here. All right, I think I'm good here. Okay, so you just want to see what's the lay of the land. What does it look like? You just want to see what it looks like, then that's what the flip through is for. That's all that the flip through is for. Okay, that's it. That's all that it's for. But a flip through is just, you're at the car dealership, you're taking your foot and you're kicking the tires and you're looking under the hood, and especially if it's a used car, you're checking the specs, just the specs. Okay, does this look like something you can like look at 5 minutes before class and then go teach? Okay, so at a glance, that's what the flip through can answer. Is it religious or secular? Okay, that's what a flip through can answer. Does it have a pacing guide or recommended teaching schedule? Or teaching schedule. Like here with writing and rhetoric, they have a typical teaching week. Okay, day 1, day 2, 3 or 4. It gives you options if you want to teach 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Right? I always like books that talk to the students. I like conversational books. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind when you're doing a flip through. Let me take some comments. Okay. Love for All says, I love pacing guides. As a matter of fact, when my kids were in elementary school, oh my God, I did so many pacing guides. Oh, they're so fun. It's just like, it's like a puzzle. It's like deciphering and putting things together. It's a great mind bender. What is the name of the writing curriculum? So this one is Love for All, Right Source. I love this curriculum. Number 1, it's very thorough and you don't have to use everything. And 2, and this is the 6th grade. This is the 6th grade book, and this is the 4th grade book. So the 4th grade is green. They don't, for some reason, they don't say the grade levels on the book. And as I say, grade levels don't matter. But in this case, the work varies from grade level. Okay, 6th grade is dark green, and then 8th grade is pink. Okay. My oldest son is home. I just heard the garage. He just pulling his bike in. What'd you say? So pacing guide. So it has the 6 traits of writing, which I will be making a video on because that is wonderful. I wish I had been taught that when I was growing up. My daughter is a teacher. Yep. So Love for All, you probably know what I'm talking about. That's the point I am right now. You know, I'm sorry, guys. I was not checking those comments. So if you want to restate your comment or your question, because I wasn't looking at it as I was bumping my gums, let me know so I can make sure I answer your questions. So much for No Child Left Behind, if that's still a thing. Oh, listen. So now it's Common Core that came in like 2010, 2011. Before that, it was No Child Left Behind. Before that, it was Goals 2000, all my veteran teachers. Every 10 years, a whole bunch of suits in Washington get together and with no teaching background, and they just pull stuff out their ASS about how teachers who are in the trenches, how they should teach. And then they totally redo all the stuff they heard what this person's doing here in Sweden, what they're doing over here in Singapore, and then what they're doing over here in Korea. And they take all this stuff, it's a big gumbo mix, and they throw it at us, and it hits the wall and just fizzles down. Because how these other countries teach is no way, there's no comparison, because they have a culture where I used to teach in Japan. I lived in Japan. They have a culture that respects teachers. The teachers have more authority and respect than parents. No joke. Like when I was teaching, I went through the State Department to teach in Japan. And I remember we had a meeting when we first arrived in Japan. We were in Tokyo, and they had a conference. And the one conference meeting that was mandatory was, look, you're going to see some stuff that's going to surprise you, except for you guys growing up in the South, because we know you guys got hit by the principal. But all you West Coast and Northern people that didn't have pops from the principal, y'all from the South know what I'm talking about. You're going to see some violence going on between the teacher and the student. You cannot say anything, or you will be coming home. And I saw twice cases where, a student took too long to answer and they got in the head, or the desk is shaking. That's the third mistake you made. I mean, like, and you can't say anything to the teacher. But I tell you what, those kids got that work done. It was ruled by fear. And then the expectations are higher. So we don't have that kind of culture here in America. So when they try to throw all this stuff on us from other countries, it just fizzles, because there's no one supporting the teachers to enforce, to get the results that all these other countries get. Don't get me started on that, because honey, let me tell you, that might have to be another live. There is this article in the New York Times. Let me sidebar real quickly. Let me just sidebar. And hold on, let me finish his comments and then I'll sidebar. Let's see, we're 52 minutes in here. Okay. Oh, we just got in here. It's only 52 minutes. All right, let's go. Anya says, what kind of writing curriculum do the high schools use? Do you like your son's public school writing curriculum? No, I don't. Nothing about that public school I like, except he's always had at least one or two rock star teachers that are very passionate. One's super young, one is super old. And I like the super old person because she's like, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do in my classrooms I've been doing for 40 years, and I'm about to retire. So they have a ball. They're like, oh, they love her. The other one is so young and so idyllic, and it's like, we're a partnership, and let's, we're going to buck against the system. And so, they're trying to be friends with the students, but that teacher is open to, let's push the boundaries. But that's not the majority of the teachers. Now, the curriculum they use is mainly, for writing, it's Hutton Haircut Brace. I'm sorry, Haircut Brace. And okay, publishers, they used to be better back in the day. As a matter of fact, I think they created the curriculum that Martha Collins used back in the 80s, late 70s and the 80s. And then they kind of just, the curriculum publishers just kind of fell off the wayside after the 80s. They just, Goals 2000, it just went to pot. But it's not so much, I love my son's freshman teacher, writing teacher, because they had the books. They never used the books. And this teacher used Stacy Lloyd. Y'all know how I love Stacy Lloyd. She's my most favorite writing teacher. She sells writing curriculum on TPT. Oh, I did a video. You can check it out on my homepage. Just type in Stacy or just type in writing. It will come up. I said, she got it. She good. Now this year, this teacher, I like her so much, but she had so many health problems. I mean, like right before school started, it was like a series of unfortunate events. It was like one, like big major things. And when I met her, I'm like, oh my God, this poor woman. So I'm like, oh, this might be a wash for this year, because she's probably going to teach to just, and she did, to just get by, which is fine, because when you have health problems, you have family problems, you got a lot going on. It's hard to give your all to kids, especially with writing, because that's so much work you take home every night on the weekends. It's not like math where you just like, right is right or wrong. It's right or wrong. Writing is abstract. So, and it's all that writing is papers. It's a lot. So I was fine because my kids have a solid writing background. So one thing that I knew in the back of my mind, it was always in the back of my mind, my kids might have to go to public school at any time. So I was always prepared for that. And for my oldest son, who's a sophomore now, I knew that if he didn't learn anything more, or if it was just like dumbed down, even though he's in a competitive school district, he would be okay, because I made sure for writing and definitely math, he was 2 to 3 grade levels ahead. Not everybody can do that, but what you can do is after school your kids, even in high school, unless they're playing like a lot of sports, taking AP classes, honors classes, you can still after school them or weekend school them, and get your what you want to focus on, give them extra work to do. That is not pleasant, but it is what it is. So that's one thing you're going to have to do. When they're younger, it's a lot easier to add in your curriculum. I can't tell you how many, we have a lot of Asians in this area. And let me tell you, between Saturday school and you want to know why a lot of kids have like 3, 4, 5 hours of homework after school? Yeah, they might be taking advanced classes. They're also doing other stuff, other work. So you have to see what the shortcomings are at the school, which is why you always want to request the book so you can look at it. And then, as a matter of fact, the woman in the warehouse where they keep all the curriculum, she had emailed me, because I know her, because I volunteer at the school, and she was like, "Can you have my son bring his geometry book and this was like last year." I said, "Oh yeah, I've had it for a while, but I was going to keep it because eventually my other son was going to be going, and I'm like, well, I'll just hold on to it, just just whatever." And I still never gave it to her. She's never bothered me about it because they don't use the books. They don't use the books. Excuse me. All right. But Anya, as far as what curriculum the high schools use, go to the California Department of Education, and then no, call your school district, because Anya, you're in Cali. Call your school. You can ask the teacher. This is how you know what kind of teacher you're dealing with. Call the teacher, email her. Hey, just wondering, what textbook do you use? Because I would like to have my son bring it home so I can see what he's doing. Oh, everything's online. I understand. I would like to have a book though, for me. Just play coy, and get that book. But yeah, just in one grade level, I mean, you can have 10 different publishing companies that provide the curriculum. So say for writing, for your school district, there might be 4 options, okay, listed. You don't know which ones the chair of the English department has chosen. So if the regular teacher doesn't tell you, then call the high school and find out who the department chair is, and I say, hey, what curriculum are you using for, English 10th grade, or for math, or whatever, for geometry, or for calculus? You can find out. If they are reluctant to tell you, that's a red flag. Number one, it means they're not using what the state says they should be using, which could be a good thing, but you'll never know until you call. Okay, Karen, hey girl, I used the right source with my students back in 2001. I don't remember much about it. 2000, that's because it was 2001, girl. That was over 20 years ago. And the books look drastically different, because just see this book. Now, I've known about this book just because when I first came to LA, one of my jobs before I started teaching was I was an education an educational consultant for McGraw-Hill, and I had to go to every high school in Los Angeles. It took me 6 months to do that. Like, I was the hardest job of my life. Because McGraw-Hill was trying to, and what I have to do, I have to like approach the department chairs, superintendent, just the whole pecking order to get them to buy our books, right? And then my so I had health, I had electives like I had like kinesiology, sports marketing, performing arts, restaurant management, but it's not called restaurant management, but something like that, like career tech books. And then I had, right before I quit, I had sex ed and I had reading. Yeah, because math, it's almost like, sports. You have your top tier sports like football, basketball, baseball. Well, you have that for your curriculum, because certain curriculum like science is like, everybody wants science because science books are bigger. They have more, the books are more expensive because it's more pages. The pages have to be a certain quality, and they have lots of charts and lots of pictures, and it's very expensive to produce. So I was just starting out. So I was a junior executive. So I got like the electives and stuff like that. But let me tell you, just in that area, there were probably like 4 or 5 different publishers with their own health book. And a school can say, hey, okay, so for 9th grade, we're going to use you. But for 11th grade, we're going to use this company. So it's hit or miss. You just don't know. That's why you have to call them, or you have to go to, or if you go to your school district, they bury it, but it's under, it's not vendors. There is a specific name with an acronym where it's like a master list of vendors, and then they have to show their products, which are textbooks, and it's there, but it's on the district site, and by law, they have to list it on their district website. It's just hard to find. You just have to dig around for it. And that is, of course, not by accident. All right. Portia, hey Portia, happy Friday. I'm also seeing something similar when I'm searching high school, and I keep seeing how a credit is a certain number of hours in combination with certain topics covered. Agreed about SOL. Yeah, so when you want to start homeschooling high school, you need to know what your district high school is doing. That's a whole, what I had to go through with my son. He was supposed to be in pre-calculus his freshman year, and the math department chair, been there 40 years, he was out the door. He was like, I don't care, let him go. Put him in. But then the new hot shot department chair, little young girl, fresh out of teachers college, well, not really fresh, but went to a good school, so I guess because of that she was able to move further up. And she was like, so socially and emotionally, he will be in class with juniors and seniors, and he's, a freshman, and then he's homeschooled, which I think is amazing. I love what you're doing, but we don't really want to advance kids more than 1 grade level. I mean, we could petition for 2, but I think all that kind of stuff. So it is. So now, she didn't know I knew the law. I could have put my son in that class, but I said, hold on. We're going to play this because your mom got plan A through Z, and then alpha, delta, and beta. Alpha, beta, delta, and Charlie. Alpha, beta, Charlie, delta. So I didn't already plan for all contingencies. I'm like, that's okay. We don't need them, because I'm never, ever going to put you, my child, in a position where you need someone. You're going to be in a position where they need you, but you got to work for that. Get yourself to that level. So we're good. But that's a whole stories for other days. But about your credit, not all credits are created equally. Not in a lot of schools, they'll play around with credits. They'll say, oh, we'll allow this many credits, like 30 outside credits 1 year, and then the next year they'll drop it. And which is what my school did. And they did it because of me, because a number in where I live, a lot of homeschoolers start college in middle school. So they'll come into ninth grade and they might have 20, 30 credits of college. And the schools don't like that. Number one. All right, I'm getting off tangent. Remind me in the comments. We need to talk about college credit in middle school, or at least in, at the beginning of your high school. Well, just throughout your high school years, period, because it's a game you got to play. You have hostile districts, not just to homeschoolers, but even if you're just in public school and you want to get you want to do dual enrollment, you want to get college credit while you're getting high school credit. They don't really want that. As a whole, I've been in this teaching arena for about 30 years. Oh my God, no, I'm not, because I'm only 35. I've been in this area a long time, and I've seen the underbelly and the shenanigans, and especially being near the second largest school district in the country and working near the largest school district in the country, which is New York, the public school system in New York. Oh my God, that's a whole nother monkey. All right, let's see. I found a copy of Right Source online. It was so much information. Yes, it's sixth grade. What do I got here? Sixth grade. It's a lot of information. I haven't looked yet. Do you know if there are multiple levels or what would come after? After one level, Portia? Like if you did sixth grade, you're like, what level comes after that? So at Right Source, so this is fourth. I got fifth somewhere. I don't know. So fourth, so let's just compare. All right, so fourth grade. Now you'll see that, y'all, listen, if you are a classical homeschooler and you are familiar with the 3 stages of development or approaches within the classical homeschooling approach. First stage is grammar, which is like pre-K to 5th grade. Second stage is logic, 6th through 8th. And then the final stage is 9th through 12th, and that's called rhetoric. And there are 3 distinct, it's the trivium. It's the trivium. And the trivium is just a smaller part of the 7 liberal arts, okay? 4, 4, 3, that's 7. So, but classical focuses on the trivium, okay? Now, what that means is, say you're learning about Columbus. No, I'm talking about him. Say you're learning about the French Revolution. So in the grammar stage, the first stage, no, let's do American history. So American Civil War. So the first time, and we call these cycles, what's happening is you're covering the same material at different levels, but you're going more in depth. So like in elementary school, Civil War, causes the Civil War, dates, key figures, things like that. Now, so then you move on to other history, whatever. And then it's like a cycle. So you say you do American history, world history, American history, world history. Let's just say American history, world history, and European history, because I see that a lot. And then you go back to American history. Okay, so the second pass to American history will go more in depth, and it'll start to also progress up the timeline. So you'll start to get more into the why of what's happening versus what is happening. Now it's the why of what's happening. So that's the second cycle when you do it, American history again. Now the third time and final time that you do American history when you're in high school is not just the what happened, why did it happen? Now it's the rhetoric stage. The rhetoric stage is, what do you think about it? How do you synthesize that? So first you're getting information, okay? For all my education teachers, that's Bloom's taxonomy. So you get the first level, right? You're just getting information. The next level is you're questioning. Why, how? And then the final stage is, well, I think. Now you're putting your spin. That's when you're really using your critical thinking skills, because you're taking in that information and you're making a stance on that information and then putting it out into the world. Okay. So What does it have to do with writing, Nikki? It's the same thing here. So 4th grade. So with writing, no matter what grade level, you're always going to do persuasive writing, narrative writing, descriptive writing, expository writing, research writing, some other stuff. But those 5 or 6, however many writing styles I told you, you're going to do it in 4th grade. Now look what it looks like for, let's just find descriptive writing. So these are your major writing types, okay? But look closely at them. Paragraph, person, across the curriculum. This is 4th grade. It's not a lot. It's basic, okay? Now, let's go to 6th grade. I'm going to have to do it side by side. Okay, but let me just show you 6th grade. So 6th grade. That's 6th grade. Let me get to, kind of looks the same, right? Let's do it side by side. Okay. So this, 6th grade. Hold on. Hold on. These books are heavy. I got to stand for this. All right. All right. Now I got a shadow in here. Hold on. That's not working, y'all. Hold on. Let me bend the book. Oh, let me just bend it. All right. There we go. All right. So the blue is 4th and the green is 6th. All right. Now y'all see that? I'm trying to line it up so you can really see without the glare. Hold on, let me turn this light off. All right. And then I'll just go to the books. But descriptive, Lord have mercy. All right, let's do it like this, y'all. Can y'all see the difference? I'm trying to line it up. Oh, the books are too doggone heavy. All right, let's just go to the chapter. So, then 8th grade. Now, this is the teacher manual. It's going to look a little crazy, but yeah, it's going to have more just because it's the teacher's manual. I don't know what my 8th grade book is. But all that to say, 4th grade, you're still doing descriptive, persuasive, expository. 6th grade, same thing. 8th grade, same thing. They just add a little bit more to it. So to answer your question, Portia, I haven't looked yet. Do you know if there are multiple levels? So if you're asking about grade levels, yes, but that would be too simple. Do you mean like an advanced curriculum versus like your regular average curriculum? No, it is just this. Now they have supplements and things like that, but that's just that. I don't know if I answer your question, but if you want to rephrase that, just put it in the chat. I'll get to it in a second. Do you think Right Source can be started with a 5th grader? Well, why not? Are there issues with your 5th grader? Is he or she a reluctant writer? Have they had a bad or traumatic experience with writing? Do they really like writing and maybe they just want to try something different? So what's the story? Tell me what the story is, Love for All. Right Source is, do I have a purse? I have to give you this analogy. I have to give you this analogy. Those of you who know me in real life, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's her. That's her for sure. Hold on. I have to give you this analogy. All right. Okay, where's my purses? Okay, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I gotta give you this analogy because I like to do things physically and with pictures and physical objects and props because you won't forget it. All right, okay. All right, I got prop number 1. Let me go get prop number 2. Stay with me. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, I'm back. Okay. Y'all have made me make the biggest mess in here and in my room. I got books everywhere. All right. Listen. Okay. All right. And it's getting hot in here. All right. Oh, but I'm drenched. I'm drenched underneath. I don't want y'all to see my sweat stains. All right. To answer Love for All's question, do you think Right Source can be started with a fifth grader? Some curriculum, like Michael Clay Thompson English, okay, writing, or writing and rhetoric, is kind of bare bones. It's like your basic crossbody. I love this crossbody. It's very, ain't nothing to it. It's just here. It's like, okay, put your wallet in here, little extra, little credit card, whatever, some lipstick, and then here maybe your phone. That's it. Get up and go. That's your basic curriculum. Like, not your basic curriculum. That's your very simplified curriculum. It just wants you to just get into it and go. Your writing and rhetoric, your Michael Clay Thompson, your Brave Writer, although it is work to do, but when you, well, no, Brave Writer is this. Okay. Let me see. Oh my gosh, I use so many writing curriculum. Anyway, Right Source is this. I love my fossil bag. It is not the most glamorous bag, but it's leather, and this bag has been with me to Europe 3 times with my child's traveler's diarrhea. My kid shat in my purse because he had traveler's diarrhea. Why? I had it as a crossbody, and I was wearing my kid, and because I like pockets, my bag was open, and it just was a toilet for my baby. That's how much I love this bag. I cleaned this thing like 200 times. But listen, Right Source is this bag. Do you need all these pockets? Not right now. If I'm running to Vons to get some heavy whipping cream or some chips, I don't need all these pockets. Look at that. I'm going to keep going. Look at that. Oh, let's go inside. Let's go inside. Look at all these. I love pockets. Yeah, it's my husband. I actually redesigned my gym bag because I saw one that had like 8 pockets on a gym bag. Why do you need all those pockets? Here and here. Do I need all those pockets? Not right now. If I'm going to Vons, if I'm running up to Target, if I gotta go and pick up my kid from school, I just need simple, because my life is simple. If I'm going away for the weekend, or if I'm traveling to Vegas for my son's football game, if I'm getting on the airplane, I need the pockets. Because I need options. I just need options. Okay? This ain't working. Okay, let's try something else. That ain't working. Okay, let's try something else. I'm really trying to make this work, but my kid, no. My kid loves it, but I hate it. That's another option. So when you talk about, can you use this for 5th grade? You can use anything for anything. Now, y'all know, if you looked at my video on my favorite writing curriculum, what's he in 7th grade? I don't even remember. Maybe 6th grade. I don't know. He was in middle school. My son was in middle school, and I had him. He was using Writing and Rhetoric Book 5, and we were just starting out using Writing and Rhetoric, and my 3rd grader was using Book 1. It was so good. I stopped him in the middle of Writing and Rhetoric 5 and boomeranged his butt to Book 1, which is for 3rd and 4th graders. But the foundation, the style, everything is so important at that stage. We skipped a lot of stuff because, he didn't need the grammar and stuff like that. We chopped it up and made it our own. But I started, look, hold on. I don't want to get up again, but like with my grammar, I would like cross out the grade levels, put little stickers on it, whatever, rip it like here, and they'll use it. So don't get caught up on the grade levels, especially if the books just cover the same material, but they just add a little bit more and then a little bit more. Now, with Susan Wise Bauer in her first language lessons and then the series after that, it wasn't a nice, even incremental jump. It was like here, 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 and then here. So it was like you're driving 40 miles per hour, and then all of a sudden you're on the Autobahn in Germany. So you got to be mindful of that. So for 5th grade, if you like the curriculum, we need to have a book club on this woman right here. And we need to watch the free video on YouTube. Because if you watch this, if you read this or watch her movie, you would know you could take a doggone comic strip and teach writing with that. I'm not kidding. Okay? So don't worry about what you got. If you like it, either your kid likes it or you like it. At least one half of the people that are involved with that curriculum, if they like it, you can make it work. Okay? Truth be told, y'all, I don't need all this curriculum. I really don't. I just like to have it like shoes or handbags. Well, really, I'm more into gardening stuff. But you don't need all of this. So if you have what you have, use what you have. And then just find a little supplement here, a little supplement there. Preferably something you can just download for free. Okay? So that was a great question. What was that? Love for All? You can right source, if you're trying to figure out, if you have a 5th grader and you can only get your hands on 3rd grade or 4th grade, get it. And then as a teacher, you do what's called scaffolding. Okay? Or scaffolding just is what it means. It's like, you have like a platform that you stand on to help you do things. Okay? So if your kid is weak with writing a thesis or writing conclusions, but they're fine with everything else, then you'll give them some extra materials to help them, to scaffold them with your weakness. If your child is accelerated and they need more of a challenge, you will still scaffold them. That's still a special need. It's not just slow learners, it's fast learners. Then you'll supplement or scaffold to meet their needs. Okay? So yes, anything you have, you can make it work. All right. I thought that was my, oh, you thought that was your garage? Yeah. My garage is so loud. So loud. And we have the flip up one because my husband has this big, huge TV that hangs from the ceiling. So we can't have the fold up, the one that rolls up. So I'm like, dude, but he works out and he's got to have a big TV. Then also his office is down there. So I'm like, whatever. All right. Can Right Source be started with a 3rd grader? Yes, absolutely. I started this with 4th grade. I don't have the 3rd grade book, but you saw how the 4th grade looked, right? Okay. It's all right, that's it. We're going to do a book review. We're going to do a review on Right Source. Let me write that down. Right Source review. Now I have 4, 6, and 8. I don't have 3rd. Right Source review. We're going to do that. Let's see. Love for All says, you are correct. Well, thank you. The school my daughter used to work at had a school maybe in New York. They wanted their school to be like them. And trust me, it wasn't. The school is a mess. Man, once they get your kids through those doors, they do all kind of things they don't want you to know. North Carolina doesn't have the means and resources to teach like schools up north. You'd be surprised with schools up north. It's mismanagement of funds. It's kickback of funds. And teachers who have just been stripped of all dignity and resources and help. And it's just a recipe for failure. Even at your supposedly good schools, there are potholes somewhere, shape, or form. They're going to be potholes. But yes, in the southern states, they don't get the funding that the bigger cities and West Coast and East Coast kids get. They don't. So it's not everybody can homeschool, and not everyone has the time and wherewithal and resources to follow up with their children's learning when they come home from a public or private school. Well, if you're going to private school, so you do the best you can. Like for me, if say I'm working 2 jobs, I'm barely getting it together every month, and my school sucks. My school, on a scale of 1 to 10, you know how they rate the schools? My school is a 2. Then I'm going to focus on 2 things. Well, one thing first is reading. Okay. Reading for some teachers is the hardest thing to teach in a group setting. You just have too many kids at too many different levels. And because reading is the single most important thing taught in school, not math, not science, not anything. If you can't read instructions, directions, you can't get started. So reading is so fundamental. And the fact that we have so many kids who don't know how to read, or they read at such a low level, is blasphemous. So I would start with reading. Just get one workbook. I would recommend the Critical Thinking Company. They have a whole smorgasbord of books, but it's called the Do I have one here? It's called the Detectives. So like the reading detective, the science detective. Y'all give me a second. I'll go get a book. I'll grab a critical thinking book. And start with that. And just that will help your kid more than you would know. Okay. If you're comfortable with math, get a critical thinking. It says or Evan Moore. Actually, if you're not really comfortable teaching, or you just don't have the confidence that whatever reason, I would go with Evan Moore and then Critical Thinking Company. Okay, we need to talk about, oh, you know what? Should that be a topic that we talk about? How to after school. Okay, I know we have a subscriber here. He's from India. I don't know if he's still in India. No, he just moved to the country, and he's after schooling his children. And he's like, okay, what are the worst resources? How do I prepare for middle school? All of that. So there are ways. You don't have to do a lot, just a little bit, because so much is not being done. And now with the state of schools, with the lockdowns, kids are already behind. The mental health that's going on, you will not be behind. I kid you not. You will not be behind if you just do the 1% a day, the atomic habits that I always talk about. Just, you don't think it's a lot, but it really is. Just doing a half a page of Evan Moore, or a half a page of the Critical Thinking Company, or one problem a day. And then say one problem a day for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then 2 problems a day for 2 weeks, and then 3 problems a day for 3 weeks, 4 problems a day for 4 weeks. Chop it up however you want to. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to be consistent and patient. The gains will come, but you need to be able to clear your mind so you can recognize these little gains. That's one reason why I always do the small wins. Because some of y'all come in here and you think, oh, I gotta have a big win, like they scored well on this, or they no. Y'all come in here, and I love it because some of you are really understanding what a win is. A win is, my child only cried 2 times during his reading lesson instead of 5. Or I only cried. Or I only shook my child 2 times. Okay. We got to take those. Those are wins. Okay. And they build up. Trust me, they build up. Okay. Serenity. Hey, Serenity. Just hopped in. Good to see you, love. Melissa, good to see you too, from Bama, Alabama. Yes, you did, girl. You made 2 lives in a row. All right. Let's go to Portia. Portia always be asking us. We got to give a name to Portia because she always come with the essays in her chat. We're going to have to call you the philosopher. I asked before you showed the levels, but let's say they use through 8th grade. What would you suggest to use in high school for writing? No textbooks. No textbooks at all. At this stage, whether your child is a reluctant writer, they hate to write, they love to write, writing at this stage is all up here. It's all up here. Don't worry about the grammar, the spelling, the punctuation. Don't worry about the writing style. They have a voice, because kids, if they've been writing, or if they have a personality, they'll have a natural style, how they like to write. And you'll see that if you watch your child. They'll have certain words they like to use, or a sentence structure that they always go to. There is personality in the writing. So it's all up here. So the main thing is, get a notebook. I think I talked about this a while back. Grab a notebook. Yes, because it's the same notebook I have right here. What was that? Sounds like someone in my driveway. Well, my husband's downstairs. Grab a notebook, free write. Okay. If they're reluctant and they need to get used to having thoughts in their head and being able to connect the thoughts here down here, or to type it. Okay. Now, for me, I literally bought every single item in Tracy Lloyd's store for writing. That's how good her stuff is. You don't need books for writing. You never really need books for writing. The books are for you, the teacher, so you kind of figure out how to teach it. The books are for you. Now, for me, I would just find books my child likes, current events that appeal to my child, YouTube videos that like my youngest son loves the Y Files with AJ and Hecklefish. God, that is an amazing channel. So the Y Files, you go check it out. It's the Y Files, WHY Files. So this guy, he takes, very okay, hold on. They're honking like they're waiting on somebody. Hold on, y'all. While I'm checking this out, Google or go on YouTube and type in the Y Files. All right. It's my lazy neighbor to the west of me. Okay. So, where am I going with this? My son loves this show. So he talks about some conspiracy theories, but he's kind of like a mild skeptic. So he'll present it and why it's popular, and then he'll try to find holes in it. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he changes his mind about something, sometimes he doesn't. But he does critical thinking. So he'll have this like 30-minute segment on whatever the topic is, and then he'll have like a 4-hour live afterward, and they'll talk and debate. And it's like, he has people on and then people in the chat. And let me tell you, when he does his 30-minute shows live, they're like 35,000 people watching his lives. He'll have like 15,000 live people. He's very popular. The Y Files. The reason why I introduced this to my son, let me just pull it up, is because it's the perfect opportunity to practice those critical thinking skills and writing. Let me pull it up for you guys. So to get your child the Y Files, who's live? Oh, that's me. I'm looking at myself. The Y Files. Okay. Go to his page. All right. And let's look at all of his videos. Okay. Okay. Now, don't judge me, y'all. His stuff is good. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay. Hold on. Let me just see if I have any other comments before I go to that. Yeah. So Portia. Yeah. So I'm going to get to your thing. So I would not, if I was homeschooling for high school, I would not have a writing textbook at all. Like writing and rhetoric ends at 8th grade. If you wanted to stretch it out, you could. But I would just take topics that are near and dear to your child and write about it and discuss it. Write, discuss, write, discuss. Revise, 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 right? Revise and discuss. And it's just a lot of discussion. Once you kind of get that dynamic going, then you can bring in timed writing if you want to prepare for testing, or if they want to go to law school or just graduate school where they have to write on the fly. I would do that eventually, but I would like choose and I would have them do like some kind of a minimum of 5-paragraph essay a week. Get those skills up and going. I would start slow in the beginning, depending on where they are, and say, hey, we're gonna pick 5 topics, right? Put them up on a board in a notebook and choose Choose which one you want to talk about. And then we'll do a deep dive. We're not going to touch a pen or a paper. We're going to watch stuff. We're going to talk about it. We're going to debate about it. Okay, now that you got some information in your head, let's see what you got. And then we can start writing it and do a competition with your child. You both of y'all have a notebook and say, okay, we're going to set the timer for 5 minutes and we're going to write everything we want about the CIA and UFOs, whatever. And just write and write and write for 5 minutes. When you're done, ding, you're done. Exchange notebooks, read and critique. Okay. Or you can choose a book. Don't choose some little punk book, choose a book of note, like maybe, but something that they would like, that's why I like classic books, because you can always pick a side. You can argue something. They relate. They're timeless books. They're classic books because what is in that book that was written 50, 40 years ago can be applicable to today. That's why, the main reason why I like classic living books, because humans are humans, and that human nature does not change. So you can always apply it to what's going on. And then you write about it, exchange the work, and then tell him, critique what they're saying. If you want to do persuasive or compare and contrast, confirmation, refutation. All right, you thought this movie, you thought this book, you thought this thing that they passed in Washington, you thought it was stupid. All right, let's hear your arguments. Okay, maybe write it down, whatever. Get them talking and thinking, because once they're really good at that, or at least proficient at that, then you work on them getting proficient with translating that, because it's like learning another language. Like I learned French and Japanese, and I write French very well. Japan, horrible, and French, my verbal is horrible. But when I speak it or read it, I'm very slow with the processing. So like, say this is in French, right? Say this is in French. I'll read it and I have to roughly translate it to make it make sense. I have to do 2 translations. I have to reword it and then translate it. And then I know the meaning of it, if that makes sense. Those of you who speak more than one language, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't like fluent from when you were babies, that's like writing. So you might have the exact thoughts in your head, but how you write it might not be what's up here. That is a skill, especially when you're trying to write fast, okay? And you're getting ahead of yourself. So it's a skill that you practice. You don't need textbooks for that. You don't need it for that. All you need to do is find engaging content, engaging topics, stories. There is a website that is like the story of the day or top stories of the day or something like that. Just Google it. There's a channel on YouTube that has like top stories of the day. Find that, whether it's in current events, government, gossip, whatever. Just find the top stories and then pick a side or write about it, but find something that your child likes and then just practice that skill over and over and over again. I promise it's not hard. Writing, they make it so difficult. It's already an abstract topic. And then they get you don't need all that. And I'm telling you, as a person who I used to grade essays at Columbia graduate school at Columbia University. I've been essay judges for top Fortune 500 companies for scholarships. And I've seen people who have to write on the fly and people who have time to write, but the stakes are really high. I've seen some bad stuff. And then I see people who write very simply, but from the heart. And you're like, wow, this is like basic. The writing is simple sentences, but the story is phenomenal. It's almost like you're a C student, but you created something at your school that is amazing that your school can use. The school is going to want you versus the straight A student with 5 AP classes and 3 honors classes that never had time to work on a project that they were passionate about. Okay. So Portia, yeah. So find out what your child likes and then go with that. You know what? That needs to be a video of its own. What was your question? It was, what would I use for high school writing? So high school, oh, this is green. I won't be able to see it. High school writing for me. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to the Y files. I have not forgotten. Okay. Anya says, I looked at UC admissions and saw how few are accepted. For homeschoolers, they want students to answer questions. Why did your parents decide to homeschool? Any tips for college admission? So with the UC system, so for those of you who are not in California, California has this thing for a collection or consortium of schools. We have what's called the UC system, which stands for the University of California, and then insert your city. So UCLA is the University of California at Los Angeles. UC Berkeley is the University of California at Berkeley, which is up north by Sacramento, way up there. So, and I forget how many schools are in that consortium. Because that is the top level for public schools, the regent had decided that there's a certain standard they want the high schools to teach to their students. It's called A through G. And not to get all into it, A through G just stands for the subjects that you're teaching. Like A, I think it's like history, B, English, C, math, D, science, whatever. But you have to get passing grades, and the class has to be AG approved. Okay. Now, for homeschoolers, back in the day, before they started saying standardized testing was optional, the way for homeschoolers to be competitive with private and public schoolers, it was to take the test, because if the schools, if you weren't taking A through G classes, which if you're like a true independent private schooler, you don't have to do it, but that's a whole nother issue. For them to gauge the seriousness or the rigor of your class, if it wasn't AG approved, you were kind of, up a creek without a paddle. For homeschoolers, because back then they didn't have a lot of A through G approved classes that they could take unless they went to a junior college, which is why in California you have a lot of homeschoolers who start college in middle school. It's a funny story, but it's a whole story. So for the student who wants to go to a UC school, if they were a homeschooler, your options were to take all of your SAT subject tests to show proficiency or mastery in, say, English, because English is hard to gauge what you really know. It's not like math or a foreign language where you can gauge proficiency like that. You can't do that for English, history, the social sciences, because everyone has their own style. There's no right or wrong answer, yes or no. So for homeschoolers, wait, hold on, I get it sidetracked. For home, they want students to answer questions. Why did your parents decide to homeschool? So that's kind of different now. So now that they're not requiring, so back it up. So what homeschoolers had to do was, it was admission by what was it? It was an alternative admission. Right now the name escapes me, but it was admission that a homeschooler can apply if, obviously they didn't have like a public school transcript to verify their grades and their classes. And so I want to know what it is. It's admission by something. Look that up. And so you were answering questions like, why did your parents decide to homeschool? Or, the school system was giving you a way to show something more about yourself. And by the way, the UC regents are very friendly to homeschoolers, Anya. They're quite friendly. Like I've been in a number of discussions with the regents and some of the well-known homeschooling proponents of some organizations in California. And they understand what homeschoolers are doing. So they've actually changed some of their rules because they see the value in the homeschooling community here in California, which is really good. So for you, why did your parents, every year, the prompt, your essay is going to be different. So, and I've never really seen where they ask, why did your parents decide to homeschool? It's something that it could be open where you can choose what you want to write about. Well, then it depends on where are you applying, because you'll have a general essay and then you'll have an essay for college. Like say if you're trying to go STEM, so then you'll have like the College of Engineering, they'll have their own essay, their own requirements. So it's like a double-edged sword. You have something for the general school and then for the specific college within that university. Hold on. Can you see admissions? I just have to know this because it's escaping me and it's annoying me. Homeschoolers. And it's not just homeschoolers, it's also like your non-traditional students. What is that called? Okay. Oh, admission by exception. I was wanting to say admission by examination. No, it starts with an E, but it's admission by exception because you would be the exception because you didn't go to a regular public school or private school. Although technically homeschoolers in California are private schools. All right, but that's so any tips for college admission? I would just have to know more about that. Because now that standardized tests are optional, you really want to focus on projects. Depending on what major your child might be interested in, because now that tests are optional, people will still be testing, but now they're gonna be looking at your grades, right, and your classes, because the schools don't have the test anymore. Now everybody and their mom is gonna be taking the same classes, same AP classes, the same honors classes, maybe one or two college classes thrown in, and everybody looks the same. So how do you stand out? You come in with a maker's portfolio. You come in with something that says, I do stuff. Like I create something, because that's what colleges want. And now when you're bringing in AI and how things are changing the landscape of industries, especially popular white collar industries, basically, this is just me. Y'all know I'm nosy. I have talked to engineers, designers at JPL, which is the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, SpaceX, Google, Caltech, organizations that are leaders, world-class leaders. I'm blessed to be in an environment where I have access to these people, either through my son's friends or organizations or my husband's friends. And what's going on? How would you play this? And right now, everything that our children are learning right now will be useless in 2 to 3 years. And I got the receipts for that, because the people that are at the highest levels in their industry, they're scared because things are changing so fast and they can't. Okay, so when a college is connected to an industry where they're like a feeder for industry, and you have that at anywhere you have a major city with a major university, there'll be feeder ops. For instance, Harvard has little satellite spies, if you will, in all major cities, and they're usually at the private schools in those cities. We have one here at 2 private schools that are like 15 minutes down the road from me. And how I know this is because one of the ladies who is part of that satellite, her son went to preschool with my son. And so she put me on game. And so say Harvard is like, you know what? We really need to get going with this AI stuff. Let's just say AI, technology, right? We need more coders, more programmers, whatever. Which is not the case, but we're just saying that as a hypothetical. They will tell the little satellite person in said school, in said big, large city, And then that person talks to the superintendent at the competitive school districts. And it's like, y'all need to offer more computer science AP classes, or y'all need to offer this, or calm down with that and and introduce this, or use this curriculum instead of that curriculum. Okay. Every top school in America has a list of all the top high schools in every city, whether it's a big city or a small city. They know what's being taught. So now, with not requiring tests, these kids are taking all these classes. Well, you're taking all these classes in California that they're taking in Georgia, that they're taking in Wisconsin, in Alabama. It's like going to All-Star weekend or Super Bowl weekend. You know, you have all those little groupies. They all look the same. They all look like they're walking with a filter on, hair, eyelashes, makeup, short skirts. They all look the same. And the players are like, we don't need to, commit to any of these people, these women. We're just going to just have fun. We're just going to look, but we're just going to look. And by look, you know what I mean. But we're not committing. Now, you go to a charity event, a basketball art charity event. Everyone's dressed appropriately. The conversation is about saving kids or, putting computers in inner city schools. And you see those same players there, and you're dressed like a librarian, but you're cute and all that. And you have their attention. You're standing out because you have removed yourself from a setting where you cannot be out front. You're in a setting where everybody, no matter how much surgery you have, no matter how much makeup you have on, no matter how long your extensions are, you are never going to stand out. But you go over here where there are maybe 50 people and the environment tone is different, the vibe is different. Now you stand out, because not everybody's doing that. So where am I going with this? So with school, while everybody is taking AP Calculus A and AP Calculus B and honors English and all of that, stressing themselves out, not having the last vestiges of childhood because they have so many hours of work to do. And then if they play a sport or they do something extracurricular, you factor that in. There's no time for them to be still and make something. Let me tell you, I talked to Chris. He worked at JPL, and my son was at Caltech for a Mark Cuban AI boot camp. So I talked to him, and some of y'all who've been around have heard the story. And he said, this was like maybe 3 years ago. He was a freshman before his sophomore. No, he was summer before his freshman year. So he was like, hey, Niki, I'm like, what are the classes to take, or what are the things to do to be competitive? He gets that question all the time, but I put a twist on it. I said, well, what would your kid do? Like seriously, like, what would your kid do? Do you want your kid to go through all this? He was like, and I said, are you happy? No one had ever asked him if he was happy. He wasn't happy. And you know why? Because he had all these bright, super smart kids coming in, and they were dumb as rocks, meaning they couldn't critically think. So basic problems. Y'all remember when they had that problem with the telescope, where in America they were still doing, I don't know why, because they're scientists. They were on the imperial system, and then all the other scientists in the other countries were using the metric system. So when it was the Hubble, I think it was a Hubble. So when they assembled it, the measurements were off because part of the telescope or the equipment was wrong, because the measurements were off because they were using two different systems. That's the most basic thing to do, is make sure everybody's using the same. You see how dumb that was? So the smartest people in the world, and they made the most stupid mistake that any kindergarten knows when they go to sit down, or when they sit down to do science or something like that. You have to make sure your workplace is clean. You have your safety goggles on. Those are the best practices. And they just totally skip that, right? The smartest people can be the dumbest people. That was his whole point. These people come in, they taken all those AP classes, all those honors classes, and they're useless for the first 6 to 9 months because they have to train them here. He said, he told me, sure, my name, my YouTube name is Niki. He said, I would rather have a C student who found something that was broken at his house, at the YMCA, or at his school, and he found a way to fix it and to be of use to the community. I can work with somebody like that. That's what he wanted. So don't worry about what's writing curriculum and I got to get in and missions and all that. These schools are begging for kids who can think outside the box. They are begging for kids who are creative. They're not begging for kids who can write a 5-paragraph essay on the merits of whatever. They don't care about 18th century British literature. They need to solve problems right now. And let me tell you, if you can come in, you can figure out how to work Raspberry Pi. If you can get some basic circuit boards, remember the Elenco? It's called Elenco, ELENCO circuit board. He told me, I said, yeah, I have 2 of those. He was like, does your kids still use them? I'm like, no, I was like elementary. He says, make your child, pull them out, make your kids work with that. Let me show you what he was talking about. Oh, we're gonna get it tonight. Let me go to Amazon. And let me do it so y'all can see where I live. Amazon. This is real. Hold on, I'm in my business account. How do I get out of this? All right. Elenco. I think that's how you say it. I'm still in my business. It says it's supposed to be easy for me to switch. I don't want to log in. Let me show you on my phone. Oh, hold on. I can switch. Hold on. Let me switch real quickly. Password. Come on. Give me y'all give me a second. Oh shoot, that's the wrong password. All right, let me get back to you guys. All right, let me pull it up here. So all that to say on my rant is that, what am I looking for? Elenco. Okay. I was that tiger mom. I was that lion mom because I'm Black. And I already had my child's whole life mapped out before he was in 5th grade. I'm not kidding. All right, Amazon. Why can't I just get into Amazon? Okay, go. Elenco. Or Elenco. He was like, well, I told him my kids, they still build things with cardboard and stuff like that. He was Elenco. Oh, come on, my big fat fingers. Oh my gosh, my thumb is so big. I have Fred Flintstone fingers. Elenco. The snap circuits, y'all. My goodness. All right, look at this. Look, these people must have heard Chris talking. Hold on, let me make sure my information is not showing. Okay. This, look at that. Y'all know what, y'all have seen that before. The snap circuits. Last purchase one time. I actually have a whole bunch of these. Last time purchase, 2012. 11 years ago. And actually, I bought these things like 4 or 5 times because my kids always losing pieces and stuff. They have lots of different versions. But Elenco, 16,000. Oh, y'all saw my name. That's okay. Things are really simple, but people think it has to be hard. That's why I say start with those small wins. Small gets the job done. Okay, you build up. Let me catch up with some of these comments. Let's see. Yeah, so Anya, you'll be fine if you can find something your child is passionate about. Maybe your child don't know what they're passionate about. Now's a good time this summer to go on a fishing expedition and expose them to everything. See what they talk about the most. And just listen. Sometimes it's not going to be right on the nose. You have to kind of like dig deeper. You know, you hear them talking about stuff, but you don't know what kind of category to put that in. You just have to sit down, maybe jot down some things because you got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do other stuff. You might forget, and then come back to it later. Okay. Or just sit down with your child and just say, hey, what'd you like to do? You know, just start the conversation. You don't expect results the first couple of times. Just start it. Okay. Love for All says, my upcoming 5th grader just started writing. She didn't hate writing, but she just didn't. She could use some extra help writing. She could use some extra writing help. Summer will be a great time, Love for All, to don't worry about any writing textbooks. Just get a notebook or some paper, maybe a pen in like a nice pretty color with glitter, or just, you know, regular pen or pencil, and you get one for you. And y'all write. Right now, the most important, remember how I talked about earlier in the live about onboarding with curriculum? The curriculum that understands that you got to kind of coax the kid into the curriculum. You have to have buy-in with the kid, right? And then once they like, okay, I can work with this curriculum, now they're more likely to stick with it. If there are some things that go too fast or too slow, they'll be patient with it. They won't be like, I hate this. They'll be more forgiving of it. A really good curriculum will understand that the onboarding process is really important. So the you know how at the airplane you have the pre-boarding, the first class, handicap, moms with babies, and then you have the pre-boarding, all the different sections where you in the wheelchair. You got first class. You getting on first. So you want to get on and just see, you know, what's what, and then go get some curriculum. Okay. Yes, a toilet girl. My purse was like my purse. If y'all have never seen a baby with traveler's diarrhea, it is bright yellow. It is so watery, and it's like explosions, but it's stealth. You don't even see it or hear it. It's just like you look down and you're like, what's all this mustard on me? Like, did I get a big jar of mustard from Costco? It's all on my thigh. But I love Miss Betty. We have so many memories. I don't care what kind of fancy handbag I got in my room, and I got a whole bunch of them. This is my girl. My girl. So anyway, I don't want anything overwhelming for her. So you know what? Brave Writer is really good. It's a good onboarding program. That's by Julie Bogart. Now, the only thing with that, now I started Brave Writer. That was our first writing curriculum when my oldest was like in 2nd or 3rd grade. She might have changed things now. I don't know. But when I was using it, you have to print everything. It was a lot of work for me to get going. Just the printing, but you know, once you print it, it's not that big of a deal. And it's so fun. You have poetry teas, you have all kinds of hands-on kind of writing. So it's a really, really if I feel like going into the attic to grab that, I might do a Brave Writer. I should do best writing curriculum for what? Hold on. Best writing curriculum for easing into writing, or the best starter writing curriculum. I'll figure something out. And it doesn't matter what your homeschool approach is. If you have one, doesn't matter if you're religious or secular, you just need to write. You just need to write. Okay. Portia says, I would join. I've watched the YouTube video of her at the beginning of my homeschool journey, but that was years ago. Oh, I'm so behind. You would join what, Portia? I watched the YouTube video of her. Who was I talking about? Portia, tell me again, who was I talking about back then? I'm almost caught up with the comments. Where is the best place to buy Right Source? eBay. That's where I got mine. You see mine? Where'd it go? I got a big old mess down here. And I like it when I end my lives where I could just get up and go whatever, you know, just chill. But I got all these books, y'all, tearing up my house. But look, I buy used. This is somebody, but this is the property of John Glenn School Corporation. Buy used. eBay. Best friend, your best bet. Or after that, go on to Facebook Market Group. And you should just belong to all the homeschool swaps on Facebook. I belong to like at least 10 or 15. And they vary in size and they have different rules. Some you can only mail stuff, others is just pickup only, is local. So just go onto Facebook and type in homeschool swaps, SWAP, or homeschool curriculum. Okay. And then join all of those. Okay. Let's see. I'd love it if you could go through one of the units and show the progression through the years. For right source portion, I think you were asking about right source. Not sure, but yeah. One of the units, if it's for right source. Now, I did this for Singapore Math or Beast Academy years ago. And actually, no, I compared the curriculum. But it's the same process. Instead of comparing two different curriculum, you compare different grade levels. And so you can see how your child, their writing or math skills will evolve when they complete the series. Sade says, I live in New York, North Carolina too. See, that's why I like for you guys to say where you live, because then you can always like maybe DM them, like, hey girl, did you hear about this thing going on? And you can start building your tribe. See, I hope you like North Carolina. I like North Carolina. My sister used to live there. And I like it. I mean, also my family was in the military, so we have ties down there. Also, working with kids over the summer is crucial. Hey, Katesh, absolutely. Even if you just do a little bit. I like to personally do it early in the morning. Like I just signed my youngest son up for vocabulary. It's like advanced vocabulary. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's only twice a week. And just because he's been watching the Y-Files, and it's a lot of grown-ups, and he's obsessed with Y-Files. And so he listens to the lives. They're like 3 to 4 hours long. And he's just picked up, his awareness of the world is just magnified so much listening to these older people talk about history and back in my day and all of that. And I noticed the level, the construction, some of his sentences, he sounds like he's an old person because he's around older people. And so I'm like, oh, cool. I get the vocabulary up. So the class seems really fun. The teacher seems hella cool. She's a very amazing person. And so I think he's going to like that. And then he's going to have the nerve to tell me, Mom, you really have to talk to me before you sign me up for a class because I need to have buy-in. See, that's the thing. You start talking to them about grown-up stuff and they throw it back in your face. I'm like, you need buy-in? I couldn't even say anything. I had no comeback, no retort at all. Okay, Love for All says, my daughter definitely has a personality when she writes. She's a silly writer, just fun. She free writes. Oh, I have a wonderful book for that. It's called, now my kids really like creative writing. It's called 101 fun daily prompts or something like that. But it's not just a boring book where it just lists 101 prompts. It's how they structured it. It's like a fun Mad Libs kind of thing. I don't know. I wrote that down as a topic to discuss. Let me write it down again. Daily prompts book. The funny one. The funny red book. It's got like a kid standing. It's the kids from the knees down, and they're wearing some raggedy tennis shoes, and it's not tied up, and it's a small book. It's like 6 by 9. That would be great for her. I'll find it. We'll be starting Grammar Town in a few months. What level and right source would you recommend? So Grammar Town is the second series, the second book. You have Grammar Island, you have Island Town. What's the third one? I forgot. Voyage, I think. So if you're doing Grammar Town, which is the second one, that tells me your child has basic understanding of phrases, clauses, obviously parts of a sentence, and parts of speech. So that's grammar. Right source touches on some grammar, but it's not full stand. Let me read that question again. We'll be starting Grammar Town in a few months. What level and right source would you recommend? Okay, so Serenity, one doesn't have anything to do with the other. Grammar Town, grammar is its own thing. Writing is totally different. Okay, you can be a good writer and have horrific spelling, like my son, and have horrible spelling. You can't tell, a verb from a noun. Okay, or you can be a lousy writer or an average writer, but you have a photographic memory and you just know how words are put together. So what I'm saying is your grammar level could be here and your writing level could be here, or it could be like that, or it could be like that. If you're Serenity, so I would want to know first, how old or what grade is your child in? What is their background with writing? What have they used before? And then I can give you some recommendations on where to start. But as you saw with that one comparison between Right Source 4th grade and 6th grade, you have the same exposure to the same topics. It just ramps it up. So if you were like, okay, I need to get this book, but my child's in 4th grade, I can only get a 5th grade book. Fine, grab the 5th grade book. And then knowing that you have, quote unquote, a grade level above, depending on what your child is comfortable with writing, you can decide it's like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. We'll just focus on this. Okay. You won't know until your child starts doing it. So you say you give the first assignment and it seems to be a little bit too much, knowing that you do have a grade level above, then you can just say, let's scratch that. Okay. Or, no, it's not so bad. Let's add to this. Then you can play around with it. But I just need a little bit more information before I can make a recommendation. All right, Miss Loki. Hey, Loki. Loving this advice and ideals on writing. So helpful. Well, I'm glad, Miss Loki, and I love your name, because Loki is in, where is my dictionary of deities? I'm not going to get up and get it. All right. Love for All says, I'm loving your topics. When my daughter went to college, she was in a room. Look at Love for All, y'all. Love for All, you're going to have to come in here and share a screen with me. I need to see you. When my daughter went to college, she was in a room with a girl that didn't even know how to make her bed. These kids are pitiful. See? Hold on. My computer is low on battery juice. Yes. Or like, that was my roommate. Brilliant. She went to Harvard Business School. I wrote her application essay. She was an chemical engineer. She was doing differential equations. She was all kind of stuff. Couldn't find France on a map. And because growing up, they always had a cleaning lady, she never made her bed. It was killing me because I grew up in a military household, lived on base for years. Being clean and organized saves, say with me, Dad, time, money, and lives. So, I mean, I always color coded my clothes and I folded them. Like, I mean, I used to work at Saks and Neiman's, and like, I put them girls to shame on how to fold stuff. I'm like very meticulous. Like one of my boyfriends, when I lived in New York City, he came over to my apartment, and I had a really raggedy basement apartment in Queens, but my house inside was amazing. So he opened my fridge one day and he was like, oh my effing God, are you a serial killer? Because I had all my, my condiments and stuff like that. Now, I gotta see everything. I'm so nosy. And so instead of, you just put like your mustard in, ketchup, and horseradish, whatever you got. You just have them all in. I have to, not me. I have to see everything at a glance. I don't want to have to put my hand in there. So I would order it by height, and then like this. I'm sorry if you're just listening to this. Just imagine I have 3 items lined up in the vertical formation. So I'm in my fridge, so I can see everything. I see the mustard, I see the ketchup, and I see, there we go, the soy sauce. So he opened my fridge and he saw this, and he was like, he almost didn't want to see me anymore. He was like, I'm like, no, I don't expect that from anybody else. Ask my husband. He's a hoarder and he's messy. And it used to kill me. And I had to get used to it because I was not going to change that. Ladies, you'll never change them. So anyway, what was that? What was I going on about that? Yes, kids don't make their bed. You got to make the bed. I should talk because right now the oldest kid that came into the garage, he's the worst. But what I told my kids works because at least one of my kids does it. I'm at that stage where I'm fighting against the hard-headedness of a 16-year-old and my 13-year-old. Well, soon to be 13-year-old. Okay. My son uses those often. Katesh. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so behind. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, for the book club? Oh, what did I say? The Marvin Collins. And then what does your son use? I'm so behind in the comments. I'm catching up. I'm almost caught up, y'all. Yes, for right source going through the grade levels. Oh, okay, so I only have fourth, sixth, and eighth, but it doesn't matter. We can still make it work because I got middle school, elementary, middle school, and about to be high school. So prep for high school. So we have enough to make some pretty informed decisions. Plus, I can always go online and see if I can snab an online copy of, my son has a pancake breakfast. I have to be there from 7 to 12 tomorrow. And I have to do something. Both my sons have pancake breakfast. I'm telling you, man, it's always something with kids. It's always something. All right. Yes, the girl had cleaners. Yeah, thank you, love for all. So you're kind of handicapping your kids because they just don't get into the habit of cleaning up. I have failed miserably with that. I just, one kid just don't. He leaves the lights on when he leaves the room. The one child that is my favorite child doesn't do any of that. That was the one child when he was younger. He had me on my knees. Now got my hands up to the sky. Hallelujah. You see how things are going to change with your kids. They're going to be on your hit list one year, and then on the next list, on the next year, they're going to be on your VIP list. Okay, so just be prepared for that. What did you say the writing prompts were that are fun? It's called Love for All. I bought it on Amazon, I believe. Let me pull it up. It's called Funny Writing Prompts. I know exactly where the book is in my son's room. Funny Writing Prompts. But it's one of the best prompt books I've seen that's not just all boring. Or did I buy off eBay? Oh, let me go into my purchases really quickly. Writing. Oh, Lord. That's going to be a whole bunch of books coming up. Lord, it's too many. I got 15 pages at least to scroll through. But I wrote it down, Love for All. I wrote it down. Where's my writing list? I wrote it down. Right here. Promise. You can't see, but it's in green. Daily prompts book, funny, red book. Okay. And I do go through those notes. All right. Katesh says the snap circus and okay. So he has one of those. Yes. And he loves putting together cardboard mazes. Allow him. I'm going to take a picture. My kid's going to kill me, but I have to take a picture. I kid you not. My sons have a cardboard station, if you will. I don't know. It's in the corner of the room, and it's literally from the floor to the ceiling, and it's so sophisticated. They built cities, and it's like urban planning, and they use not just cardboard. Look, like my kids will come in here and they'll be like, Mom, and I know when they're looking for stuff, hey Mom, you gonna use that floss? Like, yes, it's still full. Well, how long will it be until it's empty? Like, if you really need my floss, you can go buy it from the dollar store. Okay, can we go? Do that. Back in the day, if you were to go to Google Campus or any of the top tech companies, they all have a room or an area with Legos. Like when I used to work at Showtime, when I lived in New York City, I would go down to the Nickelodeon floor. I think it was Nickelodeon. Just if I had to I worked in HR at the time. just like to get something, or we were onboarding some new employees, and they had first of all, they had Christmas lights everywhere. They never turned on the lights in their on their floor. Number one, they didn't have any windows. Um, and in my office, because Showtime was kind of higher up on the ladder, so we overlooked Times Square. So you know how you would see when they do like the Good Morning Show or something like that, and all the people are like behind the gates, the iron rails, the dividers, whatever you call it, and they're interviewing them, and you see all the windows. That was like one of my floors. But Nickelodeon, they were way in the back. Or at least I don't remember they had a window. It was always dark in there, so they could have had curtains up for all I know. But they would have Christmas lights, all kind of different colors, hanging down, going across, and they had this Lego area. And it was so messy. I don't even know why they had it, but it was always someone, and they had everything, every stress reliever in the world they had on somebody's desk. They always had food, and I'm like, how do y'all get stuff done? But they got it done, just the ambience of it all. And I don't even know where I'm going with this. Oh, is it 5:30? Oh, we're 2.5, almost 2.5 hours. Okay, so Snap Circuits. Oh yeah, so if you go to any of these top companies back then, they always had these creative stations where they the Nickelodeon people called it something else. They called it jail stations. So anyway, but it was just, number one, if you had a writer's block or a deadline coming up, you just had to do something hands on to help get this flow going, right? Or if you were in a flow, you would be like writing or typing, and you would just be doing something with your hand, with one hand. You know, a lot of the people back then were still just hand. They wanted something more mechanical. So I could be on the computer, and others like, oh, to be organic, to write it out. There you go. I don't even know where I was going with that, but yes, Snap Circus, cardboard mazes. Get back to the old timey days where kids had like 5 toys, and they had to figure out, if they wanted something, they had to figure out how to make it or use their imagination to pretend that it was there. All right, last comment. Trust me, I feel your pain. All 4 of my kids are different. Yes, it's a blessing and not so blessing sometimes, because it's because you're tailoring your responses, your parenting style to your kids, right? So the one kid that's sensitive, the one kid that's argumentative, the one kid that's stubborn, the one kid that if you just slightly raise your voice, did you put that there? Why are you always accusing me of something? You just have to talk to your kids differently. But anyway, so if you would please put a like on the video as we start to wrap up. Get your last minute questions, comments, wonderings, or your small wins. Get that in. And while you're doing that, please put a like on the video. That encourages me to come here every week and have these 2-hour plus discussions with you guys. Also, if you would like to come on and talk with me, you don't have to show your face. You can just be verbal and just have a blank black screen. That's fine. But if you want to come on and talk, if you have something you're working on, if you want to share that with people, come on in. If you have a product, a service, come on in, send it to me first. We can talk about it, and then bring it on. Just I want to get to know you guys even more, and for some of you, I would like to know your names or see your faces, whatever you're comfortable with. But y'all know all my business. I don't know nothing about y'all. So there you go. Hey, VG. Hey, it's great info that parents can view the books their children use in public school. I have the option of sending feedback and asking questions to our school. Please give me some suggestions. Feedback and questions about the curriculum chosen. Is that what your question? That feedback and asking questions right now in that day and age, that's only about one thing, one hot topic that's going on in the country. It's not going to move the needle. The only thing that they will have an ear for is health, sex education. Everything else, the money's already spent. They have those books for, like, I think Well, I know with our district or in California, I don't know if it's a state thing or a district thing. Well, it also depends on how much money your district gets. They keep their books or they review their books. The books come up for review, I think, every 4 to 6 years. I can't remember. It varies though. So what you have, if you want to, I don't know what state you're in, but see what they're teaching. Just see the books. Just look through the books, because that way, say you want to see their math book. I don't know what grade level your kid's in. You want to see what their math book is, because you want to see, okay, well, how strong are they with fractions or with, rational numbers or with, long division or whatever it is. And then you can kind of see like, okay, would I be able to teach this if need be? Like if my kid brings it home for homework or something like that. If anything, you can at least just see what they're learning, and you can see how different it is than when you were a child. Okay. And then you can make your decision about, is this something I'm going to have to do some supplementation, maybe get a tutor, or give them some extra stuff to do, or is this going to be enough? So, I'll just have to spend more time with my child, doing this. History, you definitely want to look at that. In elementary school, you're almost never going to have a history textbook. Middle school, that's kind of iffy. High school, I know in California, history is not required in 9th grade. You'll start world history in 10th grade. So, but that's easy to see what kind of books that are approved for your school district. Okay. If you really want to get the real nitty gritty, your department chair will always know what's really going on. Okay. So your department chair for English, for math, for history, those three definitely will know. Science is a little, oh yeah, science too. It depends on, like, we have a lot of tech people around here, so science is like holy grail. So parents, they look at that kind of stuff. English, history, they don't. So first, just see what the books look like. So either call the school. I think your kids are going to middle school, BG. So call the middle school. Hey, play dumb. Hi, I have an incoming 6th grader, and I'm just wondering what your books are for reading, math, and whatever. Could you email me the titles of the books and the publisher and edition? Makes a difference. So get the name of the textbook, the publisher, and edition. Okay. Now they have a list. They should be able to just send it to you. If they don't, just say, hey, just email it to me whenever you get a chance, summertime, and just go from there. See how they respond to you. Okay. But make it easy, make friends. This will be a good time to go up to the school. Call first, follow up with a visit, see how receptive the schools are to parents being on campus and asking questions. That will tell you a lot. Okay. So you want to start doing your little reconnaissance to see what you have to deal with for the next 3 years. Find out who the gatekeepers are. Come in bearing gifts. Okay. Don't be a pain in the ass in the beginning, but just let them know you're the busybody parent that's harmless. Okay. Because they're always used to that busybody parent who wants to do everything and be around, can't let go of their kids. Let that be your veneer. Then shank them. Kidding. Okay. You're welcome, Love for All. You're welcome, Portia. And are you going to share curriculum choices for whichever son or sons you'll be homeschooling next fall? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did not do a curriculum update or a curriculum hits or miss this year. I don't even think I did it last year. So I will definitely be doing a curriculum. This is what we're doing for 7th grade and 9th grade. Well, it depends on my son. So I gave him the option if he wants to go to public school, if he wants to homeschool. So he's on the fence. I think he's really leaning toward public school. We'll see. He'll be running track this summer. So He might make some friends and he's like, oh, I want to go to school with my friends. Or how do we press my hair? I need to really, really learn how to press my hair. Or he might be like, I don't know about this, Mom. So we'll see. I don't know. But what I do need to do is put out the curriculum that I've used for all my sons, all the different grade levels. Doesn't matter that, it might be 3 or 4 years old. I still used it. So you can see my evolution from when my oldest son was in 6th grade, and then my middle son was in 6th grade, and then my youngest son is in 6th grade. So I do keep notes and catalog all of that so I can see at a glance. I keep it on a big master list of all my kids, all the resources we've used, just so I just write it down. I just do. You're welcome, Melissa. All right, about to wrap it up. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes. Thank you for all the writing advice between writing and rhetoric and right source. What would you suggest for 3rd grade? Oh, for writing? Honestly, don't use a textbook. Okay, let me back it up because I have to remember not everybody can teach writing like I do. Just like for math, like I wouldn't suggest half the things because I don't feel that much of an expert or that passionate about math like I am for writing and the social sciences. So for writing, for 3rd grade, like for my kids, even though I pulled in Brave Writer and I pulled in what else did we use? That was 2nd and 3rd grade. And then we did use first language lessons. I use a lot. But really, the things that really stood out to me with my kids was the stuff we just did one-on-one. So you don't need, for writing, honestly, guys, you don't need curriculum for writing. You really don't. You can use the curriculum to just look at the table of contents to see, oh, this is what they're learning. Like, this is a descriptive paragraph. This is a writing, but you don't need a curriculum for that. You just need to know what it is, and then you go do it. You don't need a day-to-day, really in the beginning with a 3rd grader. Right now, in 3rd grade, developmentally, that's the biggest change, the first big change with their learning. The old saying, they're going from learning to read to reading to learn. So you want to make sure that their reading is on point, right? If you see any kind of gaps in their reading, like if they jump from one sentence and then they jump 2 sentences, my son used to do that. He just, and I would make him use his finger to read so he can go to the next line. But, sometimes he would just go 2 lines down. If they're still struggling to sound out some words, or when they're reading and you're talking to them, they didn't quite grasp what was being said, chill on the writing, make it fun for the writing, okay? Because at this point in time, writing is so complex. And so the whole point of thinking about what they're going to write about and then putting it down on paper and then unraveling what they put down on paper, which more than likely is not going to match what they had in their head, which can be frustrating. And then if they're not really the strongest with their penmanship or their grip, all of those things come into play. So writing is actually quite difficult body-wise. We just take it for granted, but it really is. So for 3rd grade, like I started my youngest one on writing and rhetoric, book 1, Fables. Amazing. That curriculum is so, how when you bake or when you cook, like a soup or a bread recipe, people say, oh, this is a great base recipe, meaning it's at this level, and now you can add and do whatever you want to make it your own. So you're starting off with a good base curriculum with writing and rhetoric, and then you can just put your little changes on it, to do whatever you want with it and make it your own. That's why I really liked it, because it was just whole to parts with a little bit of parts to whole wrapped in. I know I said we're going to have a video on teaching whole to parts versus parts to whole in the future, and I will do that. So But for third grade, it just make it fun, because writing and math are the two things that scare students. You want to have that buy-in. You want them to have great association with that. So just make it fun. Make it about topics that they like: TV shows, movies, food, video games, the latest TikTok craze, whatever. Just get them writing about it. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, punctuation. Get them writing about it. Get that confidence up. And then you can start bringing in the mechanics of writing. I always tell, when I was like consulting, before I was like really consulting, I was just always just talking to people and just like sitting down with them. And I always say, just start with it being fun. Just make it fun. You want those first impressions or second or third impressions to be something that they think of fondly, because writing is always going to be a part of their schooling in some way, shape, or form. Okay. And you think you have to do a lot, like Marva Collins has shown us. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to be consistent, choose quality styles or approaches or materials, and stick with it. So with writing, you don't have to worry about rubrics, grading, mechanics, all of that. If your child is just getting happy just writing stuff, everything else will come. Like if I had to do it all over again, I would never touch a writing curriculum, not even writing and rhetoric. I would just talk, discuss, write it down, talk, discuss, write it down. Not writing every day, not in the beginning. Then you start doing writing. Get the writing. But right now, it's the foreplay. You got to get that foreplay going with them. Then you ease into the more physical stuff. All right. So I hope that helped. But between writing and rhetoric and right source, what would you suggest for third grade? You would be, well, it depends, because writing and rhetoric is a classical based curriculum. So all of your choices for writing is going to be something Latin, something Greek, something Roman, something of great works, great composers. It mixes in a little bit of Charlotte Mason, if you will, right? It does have some little grammar in, but it is rigorous. Right source, I think, is depending on what your child's learning style is and what their experience with writing is, being only in third grade, I think right source would be a great way to start writing, because one, it brings in the 6 traits of writing. And my whole thing is, when things are organized and you know where everything is, everything has a place in the home, then you can get messy and do whatever you want, because there's order within the chaos, or chaos within the order. But if it's just chaos and chaos, it's a hot mess. If it's order and order, it's dull and boring and life draining. But if there's some chaos and some order, that's the yin and the yang, that's the law of polarity or duality, then you can work with that, because there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, not too much of this, not too much of that. So you have a little bit of structure, because kids need a framework. They need a boundary. And then within that boundary, they can go crazy and wild. But if they don't have that boundary, they're going over the cliff, right? Because there's no boundary. But if you put that boundary like a fence, then they can play all they want to. They're not going over the fence, down the hill, plunging into the dark depths of the Pacific Ocean, because you had a boundary, but you let them do what they wanted to do. But if you didn't put that fence up, there was no boundary, no border. Sharp. Don't do that. So for third grade, you could be like, you know what? As a matter of fact, there is a seller on TPT. I actually liked her stuff. She's very popular on TPT. She does the paragraph of the week and then paragraph of the month. I rewrote her stuff in my own style, because I'm like, I like this, but I got to tweak it for this. I don't even know where that is. I'm glad y'all said that, because I actually wrote my own curriculum, writing curriculum. Well, it's not really a curriculum, but it kind of a daily paragraph. No, week paragraph of the month. I think that's gonna be our next video. Paragraph of the month. Maybe. because I want to find my version, because I made my own, because I saw things where I'm like, parent might need a little bit more information or a little hand holding, or we don't need all this. It's a little convoluted. This is good for accelerated writers who like just love to write, you know, little girls who like to write like 5 paragraph notes, stuff like that. So anyway, that's stories for another days. Let's see. VG says it could be anything. Oh, so VG, so just go to the school, just get your hands on a book. Just go get the book and find out what they're using for reading, writing, math. Well, not reading, because reading is going to be a series of books. Composition, writing, whatever they call it, science, all the subjects. Okay, so math, science, history, social studies. We're talking middle school, right? Health. What else? Whatever the other 2 subjects are. Just find out what they're teaching. You're welcome, my dear. Okay, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I have a big mess to clean up. Thanks to y'all to put all these books back. But we have definitely a lot of stuff to talk about. Please, please, please put a like on the video. Share this if you think this will help somebody out, because you never know what somebody's going through, right? You never know. And sometimes just they might not even look at the video that you send them, but they're happy that you sent them something because you were thinking about them. So make somebody's day. Say hi to somebody new and mean it. You know, just do something different. Nobody had any wins for me today. Well, I'm gonna do a win. I did my hair and makeup today. The end. That's my win. Oh, and a not to win. We have Financial Fridays on Friday, obviously, and we do current events. And I told my kids they were going to do it on their own. I went to bed at 5 o'clock this morning. I was so tired, but I was so happy I got so much done on my project. And I was like, I do not feel like teaching today. So I told the kids, hey, take the reins. Come and report back to me every hour what you're doing. And if I have to get up and come in here and teach y'all, I'm not gonna be happy. So y'all better come in here with some good feedback on what y'all are doing. So actually, I haven't had them do the feedback because I started prepping for you guys at 2:30, kind of, and they haven't come in and told me what they did today. So I don't know what they did today. I don't care. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Wait, I might be out of town next week. Not sure yet. No, because I got that pancake breakfast. No, that's Sunday. I don't know. I'll let y'all know before then. You're welcome, Katash. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next year. If you've been, all of you guys who are here with me almost 3 hours in, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, and it lets me know that you are rolling with me. So I appreciate that. I love you guys. I'll see you next Friday. And let me know if 3 o'clock is not a good time, please let me know, because I moved our lives from 2:30 to 3 because it seemed more people were coming in around the 3 o'clock hour. So whatever. I'll see you at 3. Bye.